Sanjay ji, go ahead. Yeah, if you're saying something. Your voice, आवाज नहीं आ रही है. While he is looking for anyone else as a preference, would like to hear the story. Otherwise, I already have my order. I will go through that too. If in my flow something goes slow and things happens, I don't want you to miss what you're looking for because I already give some sort of preview of what other things I'm planning to do. Okay, let me start. I'll start one story. This is a story of living with a purpose and the determination. This is a way back in 1930s when the whole world was going through something called a Great Depression. That means economy was going down. And it is in between World War One and Two, but there was enough noise happening in the Europe. So there was a threat that World War Two can happen anytime. Anyone who is in the business, when such things happens, they'll be very, very cautious. Let them protect themselves. You don't want to bleed yourself. So this story where in spite of such environment which was there outside, which was actually challenging it, Tata Group embarked a monumental project which was never happened in India at that time. Building a comprehensive cancer hospital for the healthcare of the society. By the way, Tatas was not doing a business in the healthcare at all. Even I don't think till today they are in the business of that. But they decided, in spite of the difficult economic situations, they continue to invest time and money to build a comprehensive cancer hospital. This is first of its kind. It's also come with little bit of the history, deeply from a personal space of then the chairman of the Tatas is called Dorabji Tata. He is a son of Jamshed C. Tata. He is the second person in the whole chain. He wanted to build this facility in memory of his wife, Meherbai Tata. Unfortunately, she died of leukemia in 1932. In fact, in those days, I was a little bit surprised when I'm reading it. Cancer, I heard the cancer only in the later stage of my own life in 1980s, 90s. We are talking about 1930 here. And these guys already analyzed it and wanted to dedicate some research in cancer. When Dorabji Tata decided to do it, unfortunately, a couple of years later, he also expired. So whatever the idea what he has suddenly is gone. Someone, a new person comes in. Anything happens in the corporate, anywhere, even at home, a new person comes in, their perspective changes. But that didn't happen in the Tatas. J.R.D. Tata, who has taken the baton as the next in the line, a visionary leader, firm in the decision to move forward in the hospital, driven with the belief that vision overcomes doubt. So decision is made. They want to do it, but how to do it? They don't know anything at all. This is a very new discipline at that time. This group reached out an American cancer specialist at that time called Dr. John Species. I'm sorry, I may not pronounce it properly, for his guidance. And with some caution, Also, with curiosity, he agreed. So, construction started in 1937. Again, I'm emphasizing the economic scenario was not supporting at all, and they have taken this mammoth effort. And so, we can't have the doctors from the UK or US come and sit here and treat, right? So, we need to see how can we make it is localized training too. So, Tatas, in their money, sent the Indian doctors to Europe and the US for the specialized training when the construction was happening. The hospital was built with a massive capital of 30 lakhs. 30 lakhs was a huge, huge amount at that time for anyone. Just to give a perspective to you, when you say 30 lakhs, at that time gold was around 2 rupees per 10 grams, if I'm not wrong. And it is completed and become operational in 1941. I think all of you know when the World War II started, right? Exactly in the peak of the time, this they built everything. Just against to any corporate principles which typically everyone follows it. I think with this story I'm starting with what really happened later. Today, this hospital is known as a Tata Memorial Hospital, still in Parel in Mumbai, treats around 64,000 patients every year, and almost 70% of them free of charge. It's also true this facility is now, as we speak now, is no more managed by the Tatas, but it is taken by Department of Atomic Energy. And there are a lot of stories I will talk about later, which is started by the corporate and how government is absorbed. I think all of us know about the Air India story too. What happened, started it. I don't want to touch the Air India because it's very common to us. And further, when we talk about Tata Memorial Hospital, in our life, Ratan Tata, we know all of us, he's just left us some couple of years back. He continued his legacy of cancer treatment across the country, opening the cancer centers in multiple cities, Calcutta, Varanasi, Ranchi, and much more. So I'm starting this story about a corporate challenging their own equations, which we study in typical MBAs, just for that belief. And when there is a doubt, keep your visions on and take it forward. I guess if I'm not wrong, Josna ji will know much more because she comes from that domain. I guess that is the starting point of the cancer related research in our country.
Very, very true. The, Actually, you started with the story. I'm like feeling very uh, genuine respect for the Tatas. It started with Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. Then they said, okay, in the eastern part, one is in the west, and all from all over the country, cancer patients used to go there. Then they started Tata Memorial Center at Kolkata. And now, as you said, you have Varanasi, you have Vishakhapatnam, you have in every state they have
Yes, yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah.
In Muzaffarpur also it is there, and in Punjab, Haryana, everywhere they are now opening. So that so as to make cancer, of course, it is quite expensive the treatment and all, affordable, and so that it reaches every part of the country and the best of cancer care. And let me tell
That's
you, like in Kolkata, I had seen they have the translational research facility, an entire building is there, and um, this is something very important. That is why I'm sharing with all of you, and that is very close to my heart oncology and hematology that is there. So, in Tata, Maman Chandy sir from CMC Vellore, after he retired from CMC, he went there and There is no motive of profit, no nothing like that you see in corporate hospitals and you say, oh, hospitals तो लूटते हैं, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं. He was a he's a Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Namin Chandy sir, so from PMC Vellore, the first bone marrow transplant in non-malignancy he had done. And they are quite inspiring people, and the kind of people that they have, the doctors that they have, they are quite inspiring. And if time permits, I can say more. So please continue. The only thing I want to say, the best of research, the best of treatment at affordable rates that they have done. They have done a great service to cancer patients and patients in general all over the country. That nothing beats that. Research needs a lot of money because you need research into the pathogenesis of disease, how to diagnose, how to treat, and they have built an entire building over there in Tata, Kolkata, and elsewhere. They are doing that just for the translational research, which takes so much of money, and that is they are not expecting anything out of that. Pure research for patient care. So it is something very amazing. Uh,
Thank you. Thanks, you, Lalita ji.
yeah,
Sorry, Josna ji. That's just how it goes. So, start with, I guess this story at least touched one person. I think my objective of this is done. All others is coming will be bonus for me. So I also seen, I think one of a person in this group, I'm not getting the name, probably maybe Buddha or memory Kamora. Talk about the sports and the fitness. Every day he says, I did this, running, blah, 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 and things like that. I remember one of you does that. This is dedicated for you, whoever it is. This is Tatas and the Olympics. Anyone knows about that? Any idea? Okay, again, this is a story of the era of 1920s and 30s. So at that time, Dorabji Tata, who's the second in the story of the Tatas we know. First one is Jamshedji, who's a chairman of that. He noticed Indian peasants running barefoot at that time. He was in some event. I was observing what happening. He's running barefoot. We hear all these stories in Africa. Okay, Kenya people, a lot of people run barefoot because obviously for economic reasons. There are a lot of great marathons till today in the Kenya. The same thing was happening here, similar to running barefoot. They were clocking impressive timing of the running, very close to European standards at that time. Coincidentally, Dorabji Tata is also an athlete himself. He was looking at how can I help this? We have a lot of potential here. I know we are talking about the 20s now, right? So obviously it's a British Rajtha. It's not everything what we do, we can independently do it and influence it. We need to influence them. So he approached governor of the Mumbai at that time. And with his ability, he luckily is able to influence him also to get the affiliation to International Olympic Body as an Indian entity. Okay, technically we're all of the British now at that time, right? We could have represented as a Britain. No, he actually got an affiliation for India, even though we are under British Raj, from the International Olympic Body at that time. This happened in 1919. I'm talking 1919. I think probably just First World War is coming to an end, I think, at that time. So immediately, there was 1920, Olympics was on in a place called Anthrep. I'm not sure I pronounced that properly. Anthrep. So he talked to them and he got affiliation. Kuch karna hai. Who will give the money for it? He likes it, and but so he felt I will sponsor it myself. So he sponsored four athletes and the two wrestlers. Each one of them comes from really, really humble background. In his personal, in fact, if you see Tata's very closely, even today, they have their trust will operate. So get an approval from the trust to spend the money. There is no concept of the CSR in those days. I wanted to emphasize that. Okay. So with the trust, some of the money they taken it and sent it. शुरुआत तो हो गया. So it's an exposure to the Indians. If you do a Googling, we'll get a little bit of the conflict information on this when actually India is attending the Olympics. But I am referring to whatever Harish Bhat is talked about in this book. Okay, he worked very closely with the Tatas. I'm assuming that he has much more data than the public domain, what the information we have. So 4 years later, I think Olympics happens every 4 years. It is 2024 Olympics हो रही है Paris पे. Again, he looked into the what shall we do now. And luckily at that time, we had a lot of princely states at that time, a lot of small states, right? Some of the states also joined hands with him. They also sponsored it. It's a combination of Dorabji Tatas and the princely state together. 2024, another contingent sent. That means the trend what is started in the 2020, it's moved on 2022 also. Yes, it's a participation. 2024 also we didn't win anything. This actually, the fire, what is there, which was spreading it, sparkled the movement to leading the formation. I'm emphasizing leading the formation of IOA. Till today, it exists, called Indian Olympic Association. This happened because of the seed and the spark which is put by Dorabji Tata at that time. It is formed in 1927, where Dorabji Tata itself became a first president of that. The following year, please observe the date, years what I'm talking about. 2027 it started. Again, 4 years in the 2028.
1927.
Sorry,
1927.
yeah, sorry, 1927. So next year, 1928, there is one more Olympics which is going to happen because already 4 years is passed. In this time, 21 member contingent, including Indian hockey team. I'm emphasizing the Indian hockey team for a reason. I will tell you shortly. Sent to Amsterdam Summer Olympics. This is the first team India is participating in a field game. And the first team, a non-European team, is participating in a team event like hockey. You know what happens when the first time happens, right? You can't expect anything much there. India walked through and beat almost all European teams, entered the finals in the first attempt itself. And they didn't have a proper training at all. There was no Indian Hockey Federation also formed at that time. I'm giving this emphasis because you can understand what are the things they had done it in spite of all of them. Finals with Netherlands. Netherlands still today is one of the tough, competitor in the field hockey. The score was 3-0. That's the final score. In favor of India. Yes. India won the first gold medal in their first entrance, first occurrence, first participation in a field event, that too in the hockey. I think all of us know her, a legendary Dhyan Chand. Dhyan Chand was the part of the team. He was a top scorer with 14 goals. And that what started at that time, it just India needed some place, platform to demonstrate what are the capabilities we had. With Dorabji Tata identified when we were observing in 1919 when peasant walking at the barefoot. Why corporate should do this? And that legacy of India winning gold continued for next few, I think if I'm not wrong, another 4 or 5 occurrences of Olympics. India hockey gold is become a synonym at that time. I'm talking about 1930s and the 40s now. Let me tell you this interesting story after that. 1947, independence aa gaya, very happy. But Tata's legacy for the sports continued. By the time, Indian Hockey Federation was also there and things like that. Dorabji was no more, and Naval Tata, who's Ratan Tata's father, was taking the at that time. He was also president of the Indian hockey team. 1948 is a Olympics at that time. Just India got a freedom, right? Struggling to raise funds like every event. When someone does it, raising the funds is always challenging. Raise the funds. Wanted to send a team for the London. Is happening in the London. So he went and met Lord Mountbatten. He was, I think, the last what do you call governor of the British Empire. Brown or there is some other name they use it. So he said, "Hey, I can't do anything now. India has an independence. Please talk to your prime minister. That is Nehru." They didn't have much contact with the Nehru at that time, except their support to the freedom movement. Though. So I got a meeting with them. Luckily, it was a late night meeting. Nehru enters the room, very tired. His facial expression is not supporting any conversation at all. Probably had some very intense, day he might have had. If you observe very closely, I'm talking about friends in 1948. You know what was happening at that time. Partition related issues were in a peak, and social issues and economical was in the top priority for us, right? That is the scenario I'm talking about it. If I'm the prime minister, what they do, Nehru was also doing it. And Nehru asked a question to Naval Tata. With all this background, what happens if you won't send a team this year? A true sensitive person for national interest, it makes perfect sense. If I'm there in his position, yes, I say this. I agree with you because the priority is there. It is not affordable to send someone to London, to play a game. Friends, this is what Naval Tata mentioned that to him. Would it not be an irony of fate? Would it not be an irony of fate that at the very commencement of our national government, of independent government, we do not send our own team defend our own world title, which we won and retained for nearly 25 years during the colonial regime. When the colonial regime was there, we are able to support it and we are able to defend a gold title for 25 years. He's telling the prime minister when he has so much of economical, social challenge, is this is what you want to show that to first independent India, and this is what you want to give a message to the whole world. Even if it's late in the night, Nehru's attitude shifted immediately. This all, I'm just giving this example, even though I'm taking time on this. Power of a communication and providing the right perspective to the leaders so that they can take the right decisions. A lot of times we'll get carried away what leaders is. We're also afraid of telling them for obvious reasons, particularly in the corporate world. But in the government, he went and mentioned something like that. He immediately sanctioned 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh is a huge amount at that time. Probably, I think, just to give the gold reference, I think it's a 5 or 6 rupees per 10 grams at that time. You think about 1 lakh, how much it will be. and also suggested facilitated a sports meet to raise funds for the remaining fund what is needed. With adequate funding, I don't want to tell again what will be the result, you might have guessed it. The team went to London, won the gold again, put it in the history that independent India continue to support irrespective of the what is the social conditions are, and we can retain our gold. This incremental legacy sparked, at least for me, Dorabji Taza's personal passion for the sports, and how a powerful example of the purpose and the passion, if they combine, I'm repeating, purpose and the passion which is combined, how can we achieve the great things? Even though initially it is started, he funded, after that he did. Because there is also, when you scale it, it's difficult, right? But he found a way where government itself can take it. Friends, this is another stories of Tatas and related to the sports. If you have any questions, comments, I will pause here. That's and come to the second story, which I talked about. Do you guys want to hear more? Next story. Okay, let me go. Again, this is another story where it is not there in Tata's focus at all to make money. This is an investment to a fundamental research. I think all of us know, at least I knew because I'm from Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science, we started from Tata's, even though government does it today. That is, at least I knew. This story, what I'm talking, I didn't know this too also. In 1943, at that time, J.R.D. Tata was a chair. Already I introduced the second one, right? Dorabji, next is J.R.D. Tata was chair. A young scientist wrote a letter in 1943. I think World War might have just started. Asking J.R.D. Tata, proposing a need for a fundamental research institute in India. Just to give a perspective, what is fundamental research means? Probably research in the mathematics or the physics or the social sciences or something. The fundamental area where the research should happen. He's making a proposal that a corporate should start or fund a research institute. If I'm there in that position, I say, pagal hai kya? Kyun karenge mere? There's no way I'm related to it. Even though I'm talking about Vinuji in 1943. I know 45 is a World War is ended. Yeah. Friends, the person who wrote that letter is none other than Homi J. Baba. I think all of us we know as a father of atomic energy program in India. In fact, he just completed his studies at that time, and he has a lot of offers from the prestigious institutions in the West, like Cambridge and the Princeton. But he felt duty to serve his own country. There are people like that. Sometimes it surprises me. Now, there almost, I see the whole Indian history, I've seen many samples like that. Very talented. West is inviting them, but they want to serve here. With this story, and JRD promptly responded and asked Baba to make a formal proposal. Proposal came in March 1994. Just to wanted to emphasize the year 1994. If all of us know in the history, when all of you come to know what is atomic bomb means, which happened in the 1945. Homi Baba is already thought about the power of atomic energy and made a proposal in 1943, a couple of years earlier, and formal proposal came on early 1 year earlier than what really was the whole world saw. I guess you know what happened to the Hiroshima, right? That's what I'm referring to. This proposal was also supported by a person by name A.V. Hill, a Nobel awardee and also secretary of something called the Royal Society of London at that time. The trust of Tatas approved this idea and something called TIFR still is there in Mumbai, supporting fundamental research. It started in 1945. Just to give, because I'm the Bangalore, I feel proud about this. Initially, it started in Bangalore, later moved to Mumbai. Kya kare? So TFIR, like ISC, was there in focusing on the research and education in Bangalore. TIFR started in the rented Bangalore. I totally forgot. Sorry, guys. I had a lot of, I did mention, right? Sorry, this extremely sorry. I also got carried away. By the way, this is the image what you see on the screen. This is the Tata Memorial Hospital. Ah, this is, I said, some rare photos also a promise then. India winning the first gold medal. Sorry, I know I'm deviating. I totally forgot about this. You can find out where the Dhyan Chand here, if someone can relate to. Yes. This is what I'm talking the story. If you can see a magnificent building, TIFR built with JRD in front of it. Again, they are not made any money out of it. I'm emphasizing this word that not made money because that's not their primary focus at all. But they did went ahead and supported fundamental research. And the early work of the TAFR includes something called, I know using some technical terms, even I'm not able to understand much of that, cosmic ray analysis, nuclear emulsion, electron magnetism. In fact, in 1954, almost in 10 years later, a computer science group on that developed 1954, okay, developed a full scale computer. Think about there's not much of a semiconductor at all. If someone know what is a technology semiconductor means. India's first indigenously made digital computer. It's also called TIFR-AC. TIFR automatic calculator, which is come in 1960. This come from that building and the engineers and the scientists was there on that. When such things I hear it, I get that goosebumps. I say India. When the official Indian atomic energy program started in early 1960s, since TFI already had a group of trained scientists, it became comparatively much easier instead of waiting for others to train it. I talked about the story of the cancer where we need to depend on the training. It was not the case here. We already have the people to take it forward. I feel proud to mention the Tatas at that time TIFR when the first India's atomic reactor called Apsara was built, the whole control system of that is built by this institution. At that time, atomic energy was an independent entity of the government of India, but the control system was developed by them. In 1955, government took over this institute, but Tatas remained in their governing council. In fact, some additional, research or discovery what happened in these achievements of TIFR today is something called a farthest radio galaxy study of atmospheric neutronisms. When actually they were Prime Minister at that time, Nehru was called for the new campus in 1953. This is what he quoted. With that, I will end this story. I'm composing myself to tell this. Just give a minute. Tatas have a vision to look ahead. Tatas has a vision to look ahead without any profit motive. Tata's has vision to look ahead without any profit motive. This is what then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru said, and praised them for their spirit formulating such beneficial schemes for the betterment of the nation. This is a story of TAFR. Till today, there are a lot of fundamental research is happening on that. This is my third story, friends. Any comments? Any?
Uh, Hi, Chida. This is Anita.
Hi, Anita. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for. I joined from my mom's phone because my phone didn't have charging. It was a wonderful, wonderful, rather remembrance of Tata's contribution to the country. And thank you so much for sharing such valuable knowledge. It's a value that should be passed to the next generations. Where in these type of situations, people look for, what for me, what is in for me. Especially when you look at the corporate culture. Okay, is there any hidden agenda? Do I get something? That's what even people, keep asking. But this is a true inspiration for all of us to learn how to contribute without, looking underneath that, what is the benefit that I would get. And this reminds me of some stories. I am not sure that during the, I don't know if I'm permitted to share. Can I?
Go ahead. You have a minute maximum. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So during the division, somewhere I have read or heard that, Parsis were not part of the Indian culture. And they were asked, uh, you know, how they wanted to stay in India rather than moving out. So one of the diplomatic, what do you call, way of conveying was they sent, a tumbler full of milk to Parsis. The government sent saying that we are already full and we cannot accommodate. And you know what? The Tatas, I don't know which Tata was it, they added back the sugar into the milk and then they sent it back saying that we will not spill over, but our presence will make your stay sweet. So when they drank that sweetened milk, they realized that they would contribute without actually, eating their space. So that was such a wonderful gesture that their presence is still making this a place contributive, and they have really added value. And thank you for bringing out all the stories. Uh, it was wonderful listening. Thank you. Thank you.
So, guys, you heard from me. Thanks, Anita. By the way, Anita is my friend from Hyderabad. She glad she joined. I can talk about Anita itself as another presentation if you guys are interested. She's so interesting person. So, if you see these three itself is taken, a couple of steps away in your mind. Friends, hold, be in your seat. The next one, it will make you jump on your seat now. I really mean this. It happened to me. This is a story I'm taking you back into the history, way back in 18th century, 1877 now. I know I talked about 1920s, 1930s. I think 60 तक आया था मैंने अभी वापस ले रहा हूं आपको 1877. Would like to hear it? This is, sorry, this is, I'll skip this. If you want, you can Google it, something called Empress Mill. This particular story, what I'm going to set lot of standards for us to the modern India. Emphasis on the employee welfare, which is never heard in the corporate world even today. Some of them do it because of the compliance to the government, but this has happened truly because Jamshedji Tata. 1970, sorry, 1870s, and that era is actually most of them was converting and building the cotton mills. That's how the industry was. So they also built their first cotton mill in Nagpur called Empress Mills. And this is the photo what you guys are seeing. And he set worker welfare for in India as a visionary standard to move forward. I will go one by one. You'll be shocked to hear it, or you'll be surprised. All of us know what is a maternity leave, right? In fact, we also felt good when the current government also extended after many years. This mill is the first thing in the Indian history talked about giving a maternity leave for the women employees who are work for their 11 months or more, a benefit introduced in 1921 for 2 months of a paid maternity leave, which became a standard today for India. This is just the beginning, I'm saying, hold on to it. This is the first mill introduced something called a creche, particularly for women working employees coming for that mill and to take care of the babies. Today it is seen some of the corporate will support it as more of an added benefits to do it. It happened in 1890s itself. First time creche is supported by a corporate world. It happened through Empress Mill in Nagpur for the women employees. Didn't stop there. They created the first primary school for the young boys who was bringing the meal for their mothers who were working there. The young boys who was coming to give the meal for the mothers who were working there, a primary school started by this person. I don't know what he was thinking about it. I have his photo, I will share it. Didn't stop there. I'm so more to talk about this story. Further, for the students, or sorry, employees who are working, they started something called upskilling factory schools for the older children or the employees. That means evening school started way back in 1890s. Upskilling, we also call it in our HR practices today as one of the things we claim it. This is started way back when there is no government policies are there. In fact, there is a say, leader who actually lead from the front will make the road the way they want to make it. They won't follow a road which is already laid off for them. This is an example of Just G Tata. I think Just G is the right thing. Tata is started. He's the one who started the Tata group. No wonder if he has so much of the employee friendly schemes way back in Nagpur in 1890s and afterwards. No wonder Tata is still today known for employee welfare. Further, I'll go on to what are the things they did it. Probably they are getting a lot of money. Of course, it was very profitable business. Cotton mills was a very profitable at that time. They were taking all the money and putting for this employee welfare. They started cultural and language upskilling, gymnasiums, gyms for the good health, cinema for entertainment, and girls exclusive girls school, because you know at that time what the societal issues are, in 1921 for the education exclusively for the girls. Now hold it, this is a punch really mean. I guess all of are working, right? If you see in our salary compose, the way it is composed, there is one element we normally ignore it, and mandatorily it will taken off from our salary, or our employer also feed into it, called a provident fund, right? All of you are aware of provident fund. The thought of the provident fund for the employees is come from Jamshedji Tata in Emperor Mills. Do you believe this? Which become a default to for the Indian government to do. Not only Indian government, many countries follows this in a different names of a provident fund. It started in 1901. Didn't stop there, sirs. He also started something called the pension fund, which most of the government employees today finds it very obvious right of them. None of the private entities has a pension fund, but Jamshedji Tata started pension fund in 1987 and accident compensation in 1895. Sorry, 1887 and 1895. With spending so much of the employee welfare, their profitability also grown almost 50 times, not 50%, 50 times. They're a true testament of a success. If you have a straightforward business principles which are employee friendly. This is a story of Empress Mill. Unfortunately, this is not active in Nagpur now. In fact, I saw some of the videos, sorry, photos of the current state of. I felt very sorry of that. So somehow I got this image, which is from the archive or somewhere, and this is in the glory state of that. Any thoughts?
It's amazing and gorgeous looking.
I think
Yes.
Jamshedji is he's the one
Mhm.
that he set it up the trend for whole Tatas. Till in fact we have stories. At least I used to hear the stories of Ratan Tata. What's the decision used to take it because it is come in the but this has started way back. I think it is there in their DNA. It looks like corporate DNA as well as DNA the way it is defined. So I know I'm taking really I'm going very slow. At least even though I will take 3 or 4 of them, which is inspires us good enough. Even though I prepared for around 10 plus. If you guys are interested, I can tell a little bit more. Technically, I crossed 8:30. If you guys want, I will start with one more and stop it. This may be useful for all Mumbaikars.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Before that, let's take a selfie with everyone. And I know everyone is so engrossed in listening to you. And we are knowing new things, unheard things. Yeah. So, yes, I would request everyone just turn on your cameras, and I would request Chida sir as well to stop sharing the screen. We can grab first and then we can move ahead. Hello, Anita ji, Venu ji, Sanjay ji, Sumit ji, Shev ji, Jyotsna ji, and apologies at everyone. I was late. I was not able to join. Yeah. Yeah, please mute everyone. All right. So I hope everyone's camera is on. Teddy, smile, please. Selfie. Gorgeous. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's continue. And I think we all are in for stories, Chida sir. We have a few minutes. We can take few minutes up. And please go ahead with the stories. I think everyone will agree. Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
as already promised, I will still go with the Mumbaikars. Okay, there is much more to talk about in the one that's selected itself. If I get a slot sometime, I'll continue that in one of the future slot if it's available. At least whatever I prepared, I can share it. So,
Yes, so please continue sharing. Yeah.
so we talked about Empress Mill. the fourth story what I talked about. Now, anyone knows about this image? Anyone reflect on this? And Rumiji had been to this place. I believe it's near Lonavala. I guess.
Yeah, it's a dam in that area.
Yeah. So let me tell you the story of this. I may not pronounce this properly. It may be Marathi word. It's called Walwan. There's a place or a dam name is called Walwan. So this is the story of a Walwan. Someone, it happened to us in Karnataka because we also have blessed with Western Ghats. Someone saw and say why the water is wasted in the monsoon. Let's put a dam around Sharavati river, and almost around 30-40% of the electricity to Karnataka still come from that particular hydroelectric project. This is very similar to that, friends. This is a river called Indrayani. I'm just taking from the books what is mentioned because I've not witnessed that. And the dam, someone thought about build a dam for electricity. This is started in 1915. A company of the Tata started called a hydroelectric supply company. Just to give an hydroelectric, I feel a little bit proud. The hydroelectricity first in the Asia happened in the place where I studied. I did my schooling there. It is in the Kaveri bed, okay, called Shivasamudram. That's the first time it happened in 1903. First time electricity is generated, and they carried almost 100 plus kilometers to Bangalore and Mysore at that time. So I'm assuming that probably taking that story which happened in 1903 to 1905, 1910, and probably Tatas also got inspired to look into that. They started in 1915. Particularly Mumbai was really a big city from the beginning, probably supported. Why can't we build a dam for Indrayani? Typically, private companies, I won't remember anywhere in the world, even today, private company will build a dam and probably they build an electric generation station, but the dam, but this is built by them. At the height, feet, it's around 90 feet height, and the length is almost around 4,500 feet. Approximately is around 2 kilometers. Is it correct? Probably around 1.5 kilometers. 2 kilometers. Think of that is a width, and the height is around 90 feet. At that time, this dam was built as almost as large as the dam built to the Nile River. Nile River in Africa is known for using the water for agriculture at that time. That was the biggest dam is built in that time. I think this was the second one, if I'm not wrong, as per the history says, in the Western Ghats. Electricity first came to Mumbai in February 11, 1915. Please note that February 11 and do the Google search. Will some interesting data about me. The power generated by this dam drove at that time one third of the Mumbai mills. One third of the Mumbai mills. I just talked about the mills in Nagpur, right? Mumbai also has a lot of mills. If you really go to Reliance story, you see a lot of mills. They were actually owning it and reducing the city's dependency, obviously, on the coal. I want to end this short story. Even a century later, the same dam, what is there in the picture, continue to provide power generated from that, supplying to Mumbai. The magnitude is less, probably because Mumbai is grown, but still it is operational, even it's 1 century old. While we talked about the electricity, probably they made a money from distributing the electricity. But investing a capital like that into a dam is very, very huge investment. It's companies, countries will do it, not the individual companies. And further, they did another unique thing in that because as the dam was there and lot of water was getting stored, there was one endangered breed of the fish called mashir. They started a breeding center, almost releasing breed and release to that lake around 3 lakh fishes per year or something like that. I don't know what was happening in this Tata's, leadership mind is wherever they see how can I contribute more to the society or to the social causes. That was one of the largest wildlife conservation effort at that time. 3 lakh mashir fish species breeding and reading. I will stop here today. I think I talked about the 5 stories. Hopefully that will give you some fire or some spark to you to have your Sunday night. Hopefully Tatas may come in your dreams today. If anything that you want to take it forward, you can. If I get an opportunity, I'm sure I can take it forward and say it. I strongly suggest, I know all of us love books, take this book and read it. And I just taken a 5 out of 40. Think about what else is there. It's amazing. I'll just show the photograph of that person. He's this guy, Jamshedji Tata. At the end of the book, there is an epilogue. I've taken the story or one word of that epilogue. One of them wrote a letter to Harish Bhat, who's an author or a compiler. I can call it a compiler, compiled these stories to us. I believe one of them mentioned, I read these stories, I continue to read these stories to my kids as their bedtime stories. I think this is a unique story. A corporate story can become a bedtime stories. Wow. This story is elevating the quality of life of the community. This is the heart of the Tatas, my friends. Thank you. I'm done for the day.